There's only one time in my life where I have felt a little low owning the car I have. That is when I was taking golf lessons. These are perspectives, take it with a pinch of salt. They are among the best retirement instruments for your financial advisor, not for you. 2023 is ending, the new year is right around the corner. There are tons of videos advising on you how to create crores in the next year. In this set of videos, I've tried to address where we typically will end up making mistakes. Please note that these are not silver bullets or something that everyone should do. These are perspectives. Take it with a pinch of salt. I may be wrong in your context. Just use it to increase your vocabulary, to general knowledge, awareness, and see what applies to you, throw away what doesn't. When you start in your career, in the initial years, provident fund, gratuity, there are two components of provident. One is what you put in, second is what your employer puts in. They're all a part of your gross salary. So these are mandatory. But adding on top of it like VPF, PPF, and then all sorts of other schemes for your retirement, why put money when you are in your 20s for 60, then you have good 40 years left in you? Those instruments are defensive instruments. They do compound your money at around 7, 8, 8.5, whatever percentage. But considering 40 years, you have time to ride any sort of recessions, maybe two or three of them. Remember, 70 to 80% time markets go up. Till couple of years back, there was a lucration of putting money in your PF, PPF, etc., because they were great 80C instruments, Section 80C, where you can save a bit of tax. Now, under the new tax regime, you can keep the cash in your hand and still save tax. Go explore it if you haven't, but there is no point in saving tax right now via ATC and investing your money in long term into PPF kind of instruments at all. Unit link insurance plans or ULIPs, they are among the best retirement instruments for your financial advisors, your banks, your financial institutions, and the agents, not for you. They promise to insure your life, with life expectancy in India increasing every decade. In very early life, when there are not too many dependents on you, and they offer you to return back a part of your money with about 4 or 5%. De-link investments from insurance. Buy both of them if you want to, but separate them out. Don't club them together, and plan for the retirement of your nearby uncle who's selling ULIPs, or your banker or your RM. Not required. One of the biggest wealth destroyer in the world, not just India, is debt to fund liabilities, luxuries. Liabilities and luxuries are not bad, they are not sins. Aspire to buy the iPhone or your Mac or your fancy car, whatever you wish, that's not wrong. You time them, you buy them when you can. But if you use EMIs, debt excessively, there are two elements of it. One is you are paying significant part of your income as interest. Second is, when the interest is going to the bank, the principal is going to the bank, you are being left with very little amount to invest into your future to build assets. So you are ending up with liabilities which are preventing you from building assets which can in future help you succeed even better. So it's a downward spiral. I would say that in the initial years, go for luxuries, but space them out, prioritize, and over time, keep buying stuff. That's not a problem. But don't create pressure on you to continuously pay EMIs, and definitely never end up with having more outflow in debt than your income can permit. There should at least be 1 rupee left out of your salary after paying all your liabilities, debts, monthly expenses, and all. One of the biggest instrument used today to destroy wealth in the initial days of your career. Buy an aspirational bike or car. A lot of us are doing it as soon as we start with an income in which we can afford the EMI. Nothing wrong with aspiring for a great car, as long as you understand it is a liability. Its value goes down by 15 to 20% as soon as you leave the showroom. Why are you spending that money on you at that stage? Driving pleasure, a lot of people say, oh, I love driving car. I love going to the mountains. Yes, even I do that. I bought my dream car in 2010, Scorpio, after working in the industry for more than 10 years. And I bought it cash down. I joined a new job. The first 11 months, saved 1 lakh rupee, which was my salary. Every month, kept earning it. 11 lakh was the cost of Scorpio. Bought the car cash down. Before that, my initial cars were Maruti 800, second hand, bought it for 95,000, sold it for 85,000 after driving it for 7 years. Maruti Alto, Centro. I today drive a Honda WRV. I would love to own a BMW or a Merc today, but they will require me to spend in excess of 50 lakh to 1 crore rupees. That is a significant cash flow burner for me, and I don't even drive a car today. So if I need a car, I rent it out. It could be an expensive car, SUV. If I need to go out, so there is no restriction. There's only one time in my life where I have felt a little low owning the car I have. That is when I was taking golf lessons. So I had to find spaces to park my small car. And that is the only place where I felt that maybe if I do go there in the long run, I'll buy a decent car. But that would have been an investment for business reasons where I would want to network with the folks who come there and eventually grow relationships and be more successful. But in the initial part, when the EMI is gonna create a significant dent into your appetite to create assets, maybe rethink about it. Drive your parents' car, drive a smaller car, but get the top model of a smaller car, which is okay. It will give you the luxury, but you don't have to buy a 20 lakh, 25 lakh, 40 lakh kind of vehicle for pleasure purpose when you haven't created enough assets for your future. Postpone the thought for some time. Maybe once you get married, if you have double income, at that stage, maybe consider it. Not necessary if you want to be successful in life. Here, I'm not saying that this is sin or we should avoid. Someday I'll still own a BMW or Merc, but that is when I have created significant more assets than I have today. One of the most emotional topics and one of the scariest ones, owning your own house. One of my friends recently, who has just started making decent money, said that, Sir, I have bought a house. I said, what happened? So I said, my parents forced me to buy a house. I was having spare cash and they didn't want me to waste it and invest into instrument that I don't agree with. So they just said, okay, buy a house. You will be now paying EMIs, so there will not be much left. And at least you will build an asset and you will not waste money. One is in your EMI, about 90-95% component will be interest. Your principal reduces very, very, very slowly in the initial parts. And in fact, if interest rates increase like they have done now, so after 5 years of paying the loan of say 20 years, you will still have a 20-22 year pending. That is one. Second is a significant part of your earnings will go to the bank as interest. Also, typically, you can't afford the house that you want to live in. So you will end up with a compromised house or you will have an EMI that you can't afford. Both of them are undesirable situation. So it is not wrong to aspire to live in a good house or a house near your office and save time on it. It is, however, not required to own the house. So a 1 crore house, for example, will come with an EMI of somewhere around probably a lakh a month. The same house, if you rent it, it will probably cost you 35-40,000. Why pay the extra money to own that house? Yes, in the long run, you'll end up with a house that will probably be worth 2 crores or 2.5 crores. But if you apply time value of money, inflation, opportunity cost, you will end up losing significant money. Remember, if your house doubled its value in about 7 to 8 years, you made nothing out of it. If you paid EMI, then you actually lost money. So live in a house that you desire, live in a spacious house, take it near your office so that commute time is reduced. Till that time, the house you are gonna buy will be about 20% of your overall corpus that you have with you. There is no point in buying the house. And I'm saying that because I actually bought not one but two houses, one for me, one for my parents, very early in my life, in the year of around 2006 or 7. For about 4 or 5 years, we were really suffocated, literally living on the pennies left from the salaries after paying the EMIs. Fortunately, the rent or like the EMI, the cost of property was not very high. Uh, and one house I've sold at loss. Second one is still with us. Will not make any money out of it after owning it for nearly 1.5 decades. In 1995, when I was in college, I founded a couple of startups. Whatever little money was coming in, my dad opened a National Savings Certificate account, Kisan Vikas Patra, PPF. A lot of my initial money, whatever I was earning, went into these instruments. There were two rationales. One, there was some saving being made and I would not spend the money. And second was, it was money meant for my retirement. Imagine at the age of 19, instead of investing into my career, into funding my fees, my putting money in stock markets, uh, into slightly better instruments, I was parking money for my retirement, which is even today about 13, 14 years away.